Donald Trump has not only violated our Constitution and broken our government, he's also just humiliated Americans on the world stage because somehow we elected our stupidest citizen president. And Donald Trump continues to prove out his incompetence on the world stage every single day and did so today in a speech to our service members in the UAE, in which he was not only laughed at, but also completely humiliated by the silent crowd as he rambled off and lost the ability to speak multiple times. It was one of the worst meltdowns we've ever seen from Trump, and we're going to get into it. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into the speech Trump gave on that pace, I want to see where he started the day, talking about his second favorite word.
Means jobs, because to me the most important jobs. I want jobs, and we have costs are way down. Groceries are where they have a term grocery. It's an old term, but it means basically what you're buying. Food. It's a pretty accurate term, but it's an old-fashioned sound. But groceries are down, costs are down, eggs are down. They were first week they were hitting me with eggs were up 200%. And now they're down to a number that is amazing. We're down 97, 98% from where they were. And everybody, they said, you won't have eggs for Easter. Well, we had everybody had eggs for Easter at a very reasonable price. At the White House, we had our little Easter egg roll, and we had hundreds of thousands of eggs purchased. They said, you have to go out and buy plastic eggs. That didn't work out.
So obviously we know Donald Trump's favorite word is tariffs, a word that has cost us trillions of dollars at this point. But we also have to talk about his second favorite, groceries, which are more expensive because of his first favorite word. God, this guy is so stupid, but it's inexplicable how he talks about something that is so commonplace to everyone else in the world. He talks about it like it's something he discovered. He said it was an old-fashioned sound. This is the most out-of-touch person we have ever seen. He doesn't care that Walmart just announced that their prices are going up, that soon shelves will be empty across the country. No. He just wants to yell and scream, which is what he continued to do during his speech. And look at what he said about our generals and a specific word that he used.
I can finish it off right now, sir. I said, well, I don't know. That's a lot. It's a lot of people. Well, these people are not good people, sir. These are not good people. You'll feel better about it. Well, they're not good people, but they're people, aren't they? And he goes, I said, you know what? Why don't you buzz them for a little while, and maybe after a day or two of buzzing them, they'll surrender. They don't know about surrendering, sir. Well, maybe they'll raise the white flag. They don't have a white flag, sir. I said, well, give it a shot anyway. He said, all we're going to do is take a couple of bullet holes in our wings. You guys know about that, right? And I said, well, let's give it a shot. And he calls up and says, let me do the job, sir. I said, all right, do the job. And we defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate in just a very short little period of time. Totally different from what I was told in Washington, D.C. by a bunch of frickin' losers, okay? Losers.
Losers. He said that our generals were losers. And it's no surprise because we know how Donald Trump views those who have lost their lives fighting for our country. Suckers and losers. And to be in front of our men and women in uniform and to be just attacking their service, to call them idiotic, to say that he knows more than them is such classic Trump, and immediately backfired as he started to talk about or ramble about or just spit up about World War II, something he doesn't even remotely understand. Take a look at what he said shortly before losing the ability to speak.
Remember, for World War I, because we won that war too. But think of it, I'm calling. Now, we love France, right? But I think we did a little more to win the war than France did. Do we agree? You know, I don't want to be a wise guy. But when Hitler made his speech at the Eiffel Tower, I would say that wasn't exactly ideal. And I called up the president, Macron, good guy, by the way. Donald, we are celebrating our victory over the Germans. Oh, that's wonderful. No, we don't take credit for what we do. And I said, what the hell? Every country I've spoken to in the last week is celebrating the war but us. Isn't that terrible? So we're going to be doing holidays But I said it has to be a working holiday because you can only do so many of them. We have a lot of holidays. I'm not so sure we should have them, and you don't have to go to work. Our country has to go to work.
Now, I don't know if y'all are big history buffs, but there was no speech in front of the Eiffel Tower, and I don't know why Donald Trump is relitigating who did what in World War II. I guess the only positive takeaway from that disastrous rambling mess is that he doesn't seem to publicly support Hitler like he usually does. So I guess that's a very, very small win. But the guy who just talked about in a rambling monologue how much smarter that he was than all of the generals doesn't understand basic history. What is happening here? He is on display every day with his incompetence, and it only got worse when Trump just lost the ability to speak. Take a look.
Just apprehended, as an example, the ISIS terrorist of the Albrecht Grab, the one that caused all of the problems in Afghanistan.
I don't know what he was trying to say. I don't think he knows what he was trying to say, but we see during that entire speech just the people behind him laughing and looking at each other. That's always my favorite during these Trump speeches, to see the folks who are given explicit instructions by his advance team, the people who set up the event, to just we got to go straight face, we got to smile, we got to clap, and they're just what is this guy saying? They're just laughing at him. And that's how everyone else in the world is viewing us right now, as a joke. Even Republicans in Congress see it as a joke that Donald Trump is on the grift tour right now, and with the Saudis, with this bribe from Qatar. That's what this is. We're a laughingstock to even Donald Trump's most diehard fans in Congress, who are questioning, why does he think he can take an unconstitutional bribe? And Jared Moskowitz ripped into him for just that in this clip right here.
Can you imagine just for a second if Barack Obama had accepted a plane from Qatar? My Republican colleagues would be calling it the Barack Hussein plane. Okay? I mean, this is just the height of ridiculousness at the end of the day. Okay? Who gets a plane for $400 million and thinks it's free? Okay, first of all, it's going to cost about $750 million to retrofit the plane. That's number one. Number two is we're taking a plane from a foreign country. Putin's watching this thinking, what do I get Trump? Do I get him a yacht? Do I give him a piece of Ukraine, Trump Island? This is sending all the wrong messages, which is why you're seeing Laura Loomer, Ben Shapiro, Ted Cruz, and a number of my Republican colleagues come out. And the best part of this, the swampiest thing about this entire thing, is the person who issued the memo approving the plane literally is a former lobbyist for Qatar. John, you can't make it up.
Congressman, you were talking about the spending, the $700 million of spending you could take to retrofit it. Spending, of course, is the focus of the so-called Doge Caucus, of which you were an early member. How are things going with the Doge Caucus?
Yeah, the Doge Caucus is dead. You know, it had 2 meetings in 5 months. I was at both of them. They said we were going to be included in the process, trying to find waste and make government more efficient. And the caucus was never included. Elon and his crew did it all himself. By the way, they forgot the E part of Doge. Nothing has been more efficient. Ask the people at Newark or flying these days if they feel that we've made the FAA more efficient. Nothing in government is working more efficient. Elon just came in and he got rid of people. He didn't know what he was doing. And so the Doge Caucus was never included. It doesn't meet. It's defunct. It's dead, period.
Congressman, what lesson do you take away from that? Sorry, I couldn't hear the end of your answer there, but what's the lesson you take away from that?
Well, the lesson is Congress's power is waning, and that's happening under Speaker Johnson. That's by intent. All of the power is going to the executive branch. And so Congress, who has a constitutional role, the power of the purse for appropriations, right, was not involved. They've not codified any of these things that Elon says he found. Elon said he was going to try to find $1 trillion. He claims he only found about $160 billion, even if I use his numbers, which I'm not sure are accurate. That means he failed by 85%. He gets an F for what he tried to accomplish. Look, John, there is waste in government. And there is ways to make government more efficient. That's got to run through Congress, and it can be a bipartisan basis. That's what they said they were going to do. They didn't do any of it. All they did was come in and fire people. They made government less efficient, okay? And there is no savings to the debt. They did nothing with dealing with our debt, and there's no savings to pay for this $4.5 trillion tax cut that they're also going to add to the debt. It was a complete failure, and the caucus here is dead.
All right, so Republicans say that Medicaid, that they want to reform Medicaid to make it more efficient and find cost savings there. And there was this tense moment at the Energy and Commerce markup overnight between Republican Randy Weber and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, where he basically accused her of grandstanding on it. Listen.
I just want to make the point that we'd like for you to address the Republicans, and let's have a dialogue this way and not to a camera. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
There are 13.7 million Americans on the other side of that screen right there. Hello? Hello. I'm talking to you because I work for you. And they deserve to see what is happening here. Because there are plenty of districts, including Republican ones, where 25% of your constituents are on Medicaid. 40% of your constituents are on Medicaid. And yes, I am talking.
Will the gentlelady yield?
I am talking to them, and I will not yield because it was a terribly disrespectful comment, and I will not yield to disrespectful men.
All right, what do you think of that? And again, I will note the Republicans, what they say is they're making Medicaid more efficient.
Well, number one, good for her. Number two, she doesn't need anyone's help. She's one of the best communicators up here. And number three, she's right on the point. First of all, Donald Trump said he's not cutting Medicaid, okay? And so, that's what he's been saying, okay? And yet Republicans come with almost $800 billion of Medicaid cuts, which is what the Democrats have been talking about for the last 5 months. There are members here in the House and the Senate said they're not going to cut Medicaid. And it looks like, John, we're literally on our way to capitulation. And so, this is taking health care away from our most vulnerable to try to offset some of these tax cuts. They're still going to add trillions of dollars to debt. Don't listen to me. Just listen to Chip Roy or Thomas Massey, who are saying that. And so,
what are we doing? What are we doing? The man who claims that he's in touch with working people, but surrounds himself with gold, sits on a gold toilet, and takes a $400 million plane bribe, is touting the word groceries as something he's come up with while prices at Walmart increase and we enter a recession. And on top of that, they're cutting Medicaid. They're stealing insurance away from 13.7 million Americans. And our president's brain is mush. Is that the state of play? Is that really where things are? Is America great yet? Is this what people wanted? My God. You can't think that it is. It isn't. And that's why it's our job to talk about it every day, because, oh my God, it gets tiring sometimes. What is happening? I don't know, but we're going to continue to call it out. If you want to support that, sorry for my little just disappointment there at the end. We're going to call it out. We will make it right. And if you want to support our effort to do so on this show, sometimes I'm a little stunned. You could hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.